Hello, kiddos. Today we're going to do a writing lesson. So we need to kind of juggle our brains and we need to kind of recap and we need to go back to before Christmas because sometimes over Christmas we tend to just lose everything. So let's go back and let's talk about what makes a good, complete sentence. So think about that in your head a second. And remember that all letters or all sentences have to start with a capital letter. They have to end with what? A punctuation. So that could be a period, question mark, exclamation mark. They have to have a verb. And remember what a verb is. A verb is a word that shows action. And then we also talked about linking verbs right before Christmas. So linking verbs are words such as am, is, are, was, been, be, being, okay? Those are all linking verbs and helping verbs. And all sentences have to have what's called a subject. So what is that sentence about? Okay. And it has to have a complete thought. So we have to know what is the subject and verb talking about? What are they doing? And all of that makes a good complete sentence. So if you have your notes in your reading journal, we have been talking about what's called the search and check step. Do you remember? So when we go through our sentences, and you should have your learning sheet 6A sitting right in front of you. So you're going to see sentences on my screen, and this is your section A. This is section 6A. So it looks a little different. I couldn't get the actual worksheet up there. It looks a little bit different, but this is lesson 6A. So you should have these sentences. They look a little different this time, okay, because we're going to expand a little bit, all right? So if you can remember, our search and check step says, remember we talked about arc, right? So A is ask if there's a verb, right? R is root out the subject, okay, like who or what. And the K is key in on the beginning. Look for a capital letter. Key in on the end. Does it have punctuation? And key in on the meaning. Does it make sense? Okay, so if we joggled our memory a little bit, right? Okay, so if I had the sentence, let me go down here a minute, that says, Billy loves fishing, right? So if I use my arc step, I would ask if there's a verb. So what is the action here? And the action is what? Love. So I would put a V. I can't do that. Well, I could. I go up here, right? So you would put a V above loves, okay? And then you're rooting out the subject, okay? So who loves? Well, who loves? Billy loves. Okay, so that is the subject, all right? And then we go to our case step. We're going to key in on the beginning. So does it have a capital letter? Yes, it does. Does it have a period? No, it does not. So do you remember how we did a little circle here and then we put a period in the middle? So circle that period. Okay, and does it make sense? When I key in on the meaning, does it make sense? And it does. Billy loves fishing. Okay, so let's go back up here. Okay, so we're going to add the M into our search and check step. Okay, so the M stands for marking out imposters. Now, if a lot of you are playing this game now, I'm pretty sure called Among Us, right? My kids are playing that game. I've heard you guys talk about it. So among us, you have an imposter. So an imposter kind of pretends, right, that he's something that he's not. So imposters are something that is kind of fake, right? It kind of pretends it's something, but it's really not. So I think if I'm understanding the game right, if you're an imposter, you're really the one that's it, but you're kind of pretending like you're not. You're just a regular, whatever you call them, citizens, people, whatever in that game. Okay, so if you played Among Us, you would know. If you haven't played Among Us, just know that an imposter is someone who pretends to be something that they're not. Okay, so our M. So now remember we're doing mark. So instead of ask if there's a verb, root out the subject, key in on the beginning, middle, and end, we're going to add the M to the top and we're going to go, the M is mark out imposters. So in sentences, sometimes we have little bitty phrases that pretend to be verbs, but they're not verbs. And sometimes that can really confuse us, okay? So let's look here for example. So our first sentence is Carl likes to swim. Okay, so if I'm going to do my M first, mark out imposters, usually imposters start with the word to. Okay, so if I look here, I know that swim, and swimming is a verb, right? But it says Carl likes to swim. Well, to swim here is an imposter. It is pretending to be a verb, but it is not a verb, right? So what I would actually do, and I'm going to actually just highlight this, but what you would do, okay, is you would draw a line through it. Okay, so I'm highlighting it, but I need you to draw a line right through to swim. So we're going to mark it out, and we're going to say you are imposing on us. You are acting like a verb here, but this is not the verb of the sentence. Okay, so then we go to our A. So now we found the imposter. We've marked it out. That's called an infinitive. Okay, infinitives act like verbs. This is not a verb, right? Okay, and then we go to ask if there's a verb. So now what is our verb here? Okay, let me go down a minute. So our verb here, is like. So I'm going to put a V above likes. And then I'm going to root out the subject. Who likes? Well, what? Carl likes. And now I'm going to key in on the beginning. Does it have a capital letter? Yep. Key in on the end. Does it have punctuation? Oh, no. So I need a period. Okay, and don't forget to circle it. And does it make sense? Yes, it does. Okay, let's go to the next one. Fred was sad to leave. So remember my M, we're going to mark out that imposter. In this case, the imposter is what's called an infinitive. It is something that is pretending to be a verb. And usually, not always, usually it begins with the little bitty word to. So Fred was sad to leave. So what here is imposing as a verb, pretending to be a verb, but it's not. Yep, to leave. So take that and mark it out. So you're just going to put a line through it. I'm highlighting it. You're marking a line through it. Now I go to my A. Ask is their verb. Fred was sad to leave. What's my verb here? Now it's not sad here because he's not, sad is not the action. We actually have our linking verb. Remember our linking verb here? Yeah, we have our linking verb. So our linking verb is sad. Whoops. Okay, and you could put LV if you wanted to. And then we're going to root out the subject. Who's sad? Whoops, and I totally deleted Fred, didn't I? I think it was Fred. Yeah. All right, sorry. Fred was sad. Now I got a key in on the beginning. Does it have a capital letter? No, so circle the F here and put a capital F above it. Okay, so I'm going to change it, but you should be circling it and putting it above it. Key in on the end. Does it have a period? Nope. Do the same thing. And then does it make sense? Yes. Let's go to the next one. The doctor said to rest. What is my imposter here? What is posing as a verb? And that is to rest. To rest is pretending to be a verb here. It is an infinitive, but it's not. So now I need to ask, is there a verb? What is my action here? Well, my action is said. Said is my action verb. Who said? When I root out the subject, the doctor said. Okay, now I need to key in on the beginning. Does it need a capital letter? Yes, it does. So you need to circle it and put a capital T. Does it have a period or punctuation mark? I think yours does. I don't think I put it there, but yours does, so you're good. Okay, and does it make sense? Yes, it makes sense. Let's look at the next one. Dan ordered a brick to eat. Okay, let's mark out that imposter. What is imposing on us? Acting like a verb, and that is to eat. Remember that little word to a lot of times is your hint. Okay, now we're going to ask if there's a verb. What is the action here? Now, you might say brick, but is brick doing anything? Nope, it sure isn't. So my action verb here is ordered. Oops. So ordered is my verb. Now I need to root out the subject. Who ordered? Dan ordered. And I key in on the beginning. I have a capital letter. I key in on the end. I have a period. Doesn't make sense. Now, Dan ordered a brick to eat. Does that make sense? I don't think so. I don't want a brick to eat. So why don't you mark out the word brick here And you can change it to whatever you want. So I'm just going to say Dan ordered a burger to eat. Okay? You can do pizza, ice cream, whatever you want. And then let's do the last one. Ellen wants to see a movie, okay? Now be careful because my imposter is in the middle of this sentence. So what is my imposter? What's imposing here? And that is to see. So I'm going to mark out to see. That is imposing as a verb. It's an infinitive. It is not a verb. So now I ask if there's a verb. Ellen wants a movie. Well, wants to see a movie, but I'm going to keep that out, to see, because Ellen wants a movie. Which of those words are a verb? Well, movie's not doing anything, but guess what? Oh, wants is my action verb. And then I say, who wants? Well, Ellen wants. That's my subject. I key in on the beginning. Okay, I need to capitalize E. And then key in on the end. Does it have a punctuation mark? I don't think so. So circle it and put a period. And then, does it make sense? Yes, it makes sense. Okay, so that is the end, marking out imposter. So now you're going to practice on 6B. Remember, there's little boxes on the side. You don't do anything with those, okay? So I want you to practice marking out imposters, finding your verb and your subject, and making sure you have the first letter capitalized, punctuation, and it makes sense. And then you're going to turn it over to the back, and on your own, you're going to do section C and D, and I'll grade that when you return it, okay? Good job, kiddos. Keep it up, and let's become awesome writers this year.